On today's video, I have another unboxing for you. This time, it's the cheapest palm router I could find on eBay.
This is the Old Guy Network.
Yep. Welcome back to the Old Guy Network. I'm the Old Guy, the OG, Jay, and it's good to have you here in the trailer hood. And like the title of this video says, I got the cheapest palm router I could find on eBay. Why the cheapest? Well, I'm running out of money. But, you know, that's the way it goes. No, actually, I don't think I need something really nice to do some of the projects I'm going to do. And I've been talking to a lot of people who said, look, don't waste your money on a really nice palm router. You can get a cheap one on eBay for, you know, anywhere from, you know, $25 to $40, and it will work, and it works just fine. And that's what I was told. So I don't believe it. I think what I ordered was probably going to be a piece of junk. I'm really quite anxious but frightened at the same time to see what's inside here. So let's get started, and we're going to start things off here in the studio because it's so damn cold out there. And I see the router. As you can see, there's no packing to speak of with this. There's no packing with this. It's just shoved into a box. Here's some parts. And let's show it coming right out of the box.
Ooh, shiny.
There's the router. And we've got a bunch of parts in here. This is the base of the router. And don't throw the bag away because there's a bunch of screws and stuff there. All right, and got this. That's part of the guide. Another part of the guide. Some very cheaply made wrenches. Normally you get them and they're steel. This is steel, but I mean you get fairly decent grade. This is just stamped out. This is just sheet metal. It's just stamped out. So I know for a fact those will not last. And a little wing nut in there. And that's it. That's it. We'll file that right over there. Directions that I'm sure are, yeah, they're written in broken English. We can figure it out. Don't let children touch tool or extension cord. All visitors should be kept away from workplace. Oh, okay. That's a good rule. Basically, if you've never seen a router, if you don't have one, basically you get a motor, and that's what this is. This is a nice big motor. Well, not big, but you know what I'm saying. It's 110 volts, of course, 30,000 RPM, 800 watts, 60 cycles, so that's what we got. If it doesn't work out as a router, maybe I could hook this up to the bicycle. I got some spare batteries. But anyway, this is it. As you can see, it has this little guide embossed in it. And that will fit in right there when we put this all together. Man, it's not real heavy. It's pretty damn light. On-off switch on the top. Plastic. It's meeting my expectations so far. And if you recall, my expectations weren't all that much to begin with. If this thing actually comes on, turns on and works, I'll be happy. See if this has any kind of torque at all. Good luck. And it takes quite a while for it to stop. I wasn't expecting anything. other than that. A little bit of torque. It's kind of loud for a small motor. It is kind of loud. What I essentially bought, I bought a cheap motor with some plastic parts that resemble a router. They include a couple of extra brushes for the motor, and that's a good thing, I guess. That'd be a pretty good thing. Here's one. There's two. Except maybe that means that these things, the brushes go so quickly on these that they give you spares. I don't know. Here's the access cover right there. You just take that out with a screwdriver and take the old brush out, put the new brush in, and replace the cap. That's how brushes work. I don't know whether I should be happy about this or not, but I mean, I have them. Something else I have to, keep track of, but I guess that's pretty good. As far as the way it looks, I mean, it's got a rubber pad on it to cut down on vibration. I don't imagine that's gonna really do much good whatsoever. It's not very thick. It's a cheap ass router. That's what it is. I've had a few routers before, and I've only had a couple of palm routers. When I had my pawn shop, I had a really, really nice one. I think it was a DeWalt, but I'm not positive. And it was about this size, but it was so much more substantial. I mean, everything on it just felt better. This is just a piece of milled out aluminum with some plastic parts added to it, and hopefully the motor will be okay on it. I mean, that's your router, the motor, right? So I'm going to gather all this stuff up and head on out to the shop, and we're going to put a bit in it, and we're going to see if it will do what I want it to do. Before we go out into the shop, I have to call your attention to something. I was looking at the directions, and I thought, well, maybe it'll be helpful because they're instructions, right? And almost all of the instructions are just safety warnings about what not to do with the tool, except for the last page. The very last page, right on the top, it says instructions, and I want to read this to you. This is exactly what it says. Before using your sander, there's a picture of the router right on the cover. But that says, before using your sander. Now, maybe that was a misprint. Let's go to the next paragraph. Double insulation. That sounds good, right? Your sander is double insulated. So this router instructions is actually, the last page is the instructions for a sander that they also make. Alright, as you can see, I've got a piece of wood here. I've already made one channel in it, which didn't work out well, but I'm going to try something different. I've got a very crude clamping system here. This is not what I would use if I was going to do a nice project. But all I want to do is see if I can make a channel in this board. And as you can see, I've got the bit in there right now, and it's set for just over just over 1/8 of an inch, maybe a little bit deeper, but it should be able to cut through this. Let's find out. Okay, already the problem is the collar has slipped and it went down a little bit, so we're going to have to readjust this and retighten the collar on the router base itself. All right, let's try this. You can see I made a channel. Now, this is the part I did before. Don't pay any attention to that. Just from here to here. And, well, if I was going to do a rough mortise for a door or something, it might be okay. But there are some problems. There's a lot of tear out. And it's not very straight. And that could have something to do with, you know, my clamping here. I mean, this is just a rough try. Let's see if we can do an edge before I say anything else. I took the piece that I was working on, put it in my chop saw, and just cut it out so you could see the edges. And it did okay. I mean, it's not perfect, but I didn't have it clamped down very well. I mean, it's not a great setup to really be testing this. But, I mean, it worked. And keep in mind, this is a piece of softwood. But there are some problems, and we'll go over those just to see what's going on with this. All right, the two biggest problems that we have with this is, first of all, this base. No matter how hard you try, you can't get this straight. I mean, I got it fairly straight, but it's not a precision tool. And you have to crank it down so much that I'm pretty sure that this plastic here is not gonna, it's not gonna hold up. When you put this on, there's so much play. Now, you might be able to do something as simple as put a piece of painter's tape around this so that this is a little more snug. That might take care of the problem. And for a $27 router, you might have to go that route. I will try that later on. But that's the first problem. The second problem are these guides that they give you. This is the edging guide, and it's junk. This is what I was talking about. I gotta see if I can find my good wrenches. This one, also junk. It does not work well, and it's very, very thin, and I've already bent it 3 or 4 times and then tried to get it at a right angle, and this is no good. So if you're buying this tool, chances are you're not buying this for the add-ons anyway. $27 router, and the base is, well, very questionable. And if you can see in there, this is a 2-piece base. And somehow, and I'm not sure how it did it, but sawdust gets inside there, so you have to undo these screws and take the sawdust out. So much for having a clear base, right? The idea of having a clear base is so you can see your lines and see what your bit is doing, but if it's filling up with sawdust, that doesn't do you a whole hell of a lot of good. Maybe putting some tape around here to get this to fit better, that might make all the difference. Added a little piece of electrical tape, and I only put one turn around here, one layer of tape, and it seemed to make a little bit of a difference. I mean, it's a $27 router. Now, the best thing to be able to do would be able to get a really nice router and compare it to this. But this is
probably not the way to go. My Dremel actually does a better job, but on a much smaller scale, because that uses the 1/8 inch bits. This uses the 1/4 inch, and that's what I wanted, because my table router, of course, is a 1/4 inch bit. It is not great. I've seen routers that were a heck of a lot more powerful and the same size. But for $27, I mean, it will get you by. It will do some things that you might need it to do. Am I disappointed? Not really, because I knew what I was getting into. That's it. $27 router. Do I like it? Yeah. I gotta play with it some more. Might be okay. I don't know. My advice: spend the extra money and get yourself a nice Palm router. I will come back to this. I'll do an updated video and let you know what I've learned.